The other day, I talked about the fake news about the president tearing America apart. And now we're seeing the unhinged conspiracy theories go absolutely insane. It's not just about whether or not Trump is bad. It's about made up, make-believe things these people believe are happening. I kid you not. We have a story of a guy in MSNBC using numerology to try and link the president to white supremacy. We have a story where MSNBC, one of their contributors, claims that he thinks white nationalists are seeing subliminal messages from the president. And come on, how many stories have there been about dog whistles, about how every single thing someone on the right says is a secret dog whistle that only racists can hear, yet for some reason, it's always heard by the people who claim they're not racist. Yes, this is the current state of things, and it's leading to an escalation in tensions, hysteria and panic of, yes, I have 2 stories today about absolute hysteria because of these media stories, and it's also leading to an escalation in calls for violence. I mean, I don't know what to say. Is it going to lead to a civil war? I think some kind of civil conflict is already here. A Princeton professor said it's a cold civil war. So yes, it seems like the fabric of our society is being split, and I don't know what can be done to stop it. Today, let's take a look at some of these stories, starting with the weird subliminal orders that Trump is giving to white supremacist foot soldiers. I kid you not. Now, before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address, but of course, the best thing you can do is share this video. YouTube has deranked independent political commentary. You probably hear me say this a lot, but it's true. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, NBC, etc. They get propped up, we get knocked down. To resist this, we got to go old school, word of mouth. If you think this video is important, please share it. But let's get to the news. Real Clear Politics reports MSNBC's Malcolm Nance, Trump giving, quote, subliminal orders to white supremacist foot soldiers. Yes, the old dog whistle narrative where they think every single thing Trump is doing is a hidden message. Why did Trump say this word and not this word? Did you know the other day Trump denounced white supremacy? Wait a minute. Why didn't he specifically call out white nationalism? Oh my word. He's dog whistling. No, that's an insane conspiracy theory. It's likely the president just said white supremacy. That's it. But let's take a look at this story. Malcolm Nance said, these people feel that they are the foot soldiers and executors of what the disenfranchisement that the white race is feeling, and Donald Trump is giving them subliminal orders in their head. They are no different than the mobilized, self-starting, self-radicalized, ISIS, etc., etc. You get the point. Now, let me clarify. Real Clear Politics kind of makes it seem like Malcolm Nance believes Trump is giving subliminal orders. What he's really saying is that these people think they're receiving subliminal orders, not that Trump is doing that on purpose. However, that in and of itself is a bit of a conspiracy theory. To assume that the white supremacists actually think Trump is doing this is a conspiracy. You know, Richard Spencer was on CNN not that long ago. CNN wanted to have him on. It was a big controversy. But he said, what Trump is saying is no different than what your racist uncle says when he's yelling at Fox News. So it's not like they think they're getting subliminal messages. This is a conspiracy. Look, by all means, criticize the president. I get it. But we're starting to go nuts, okay? Check this out. From the Daily Caller, MSNBC analyst uses numerology to link Trump's decision to fly flags at half-staff to neo-Nazism. Yes, this is where we are. This is where we are. Okay, now let me walk this one back a little bit too. It's still crazy. This guy on the right basically claims that because Trump is flying the flag at half-staff due to El Paso, and he's going to have them restored on August 8th, that's clearly, it's 8/8. Which is a significant number to white supremacy. I kid you not. That's what MSNBC is pushing. That Trump planned this. That after these horrifying events, Trump said, we'll fly the flag at half-staff until 8/8. That's so insane. Look, by all means, maybe, but what Occam's razor suggests Trump just said for 3 days we'll have the flag down, and this guy went, oh no, it's happening. Well, there's another viral story today where Tucker Carlson has said white supremacy is a hoax. It's not a real problem. Well, hold on there, Tucker. I understand the point you're trying to make, but you are wrong here. It is a problem. But to clarify, what I think Tucker is trying to say is it's not the biggest problem. And actually, that's basically what Tucker said on his show, that The entirety of white supremacists in this country could fit in a college basketball arena. He's right. Estimates put it on a high end around 10 to 11,000, maybe 12 or 13, but still not many people relative to the entirety of the US population. While I think it's fair to point out it's certainly not the biggest problem our country is facing, I do think two things are important to point out. It is a problem. Absolutely. This guy in El Paso, serious problem, and radicalization is a serious problem, period. Is it the worst problem we're facing? Probably not. I think Iran, potential war, is much more disconcerting for me. But I am worried about the escalation, and I think we will see more white identitarian, white nationalist violence. So I see the point Tucker's trying to make. I think we should absolutely call out the threat and problem that is white supremacy, while acknowledging there is a point to be made in that this is hysteria we're hearing. When a guy on MSNBC says that Trump's flag schedule is a secret dog whistle, when MSNBC says that there are people who think they're being fed secret messages by the president, you're kind of going nuts. Take a look at this story, which kind of, you get what Tucker's trying to say? Vox ran a story saying, study, 11 million white Americans think like the alt-right. Are you kidding me? 11 million? It's absolutely absurd. They're extrapolating data about in-group, out-group preference and then trying to link that to the tiki torch wielding lunatics that were down in Charlottesville chanting stuff about Jews. That's insane. And this hysteria has legitimate consequences. Okay, we're seeing straight panic. We're seeing paranoia and insanity. Look at this story. Straight pride organizer says white Caucasians founded U.S. Her gay son calls parade a dog whistle to white supremacy. I have no idea what they're trying to claim here. But let's liberal commentator. Trump's warning that supporters could play tough is a violent dog whistle. Apparently a dog whistle that I didn't hear. Well, maybe it's because I'm moderate. Maybe it's because I'm not one of these Trump people, but apparently the left is really good at hearing racist dog whistles. Here we go. Lightfoot, Chicago mayor. Mayor Lightfoot, I believe it's Chicago, has a dim view of some of President Trump's remarks, saying that what he's been doing is blowing every racist, xenophobic dog whistle. When you do that, when you blow that kind of dog whistle, animals come out. Oh, kind of like Sean King overtly calling for and then praising a terrorist. Is that what they're talking about? How do we get to the point where Trump can say, we're going to put the flag at half-mast or whatever until for 3 days, and everyone starts shrieking like, oh my God, he's calling for violence. The rhetoric is escalating. He says the migrants coming in this country, they're coming by the thousands in an invasion. Oh no, he's inciting violence. And then you literally have Sean King and Reza Aslan encouraging and inciting, literally inciting violence. You have Reza Aslan saying, he calls out Trump supporters. I want to make sure I speak clearly and precisely. He says Trump is, a white nationalist and all of his supporters are. This scourge must be eradicated. So take that for whatever you think it's going to mean. I think he's inciting violence, and you want to talk about Trump's dog whistles. These things have ramifications. Now we have this story where apparently the Booker campaign is claiming that Trump should cancel his New Hampshire rally because it's a breeding ground for bigotry. Well, this is what we get. Now, I want to stress, this video, what you're seeing is panic in Times Square because a motorcycle backfired and everyone thought it was a gun and started running and screaming. This is not so much the result of like the anti-Trump rhetoric. I don't want to make it seem like because the media opposes Trump, everyone's panicking. No, we had 2 shootings in a day and people are panicking. But I do want to stress how this hysteria is sweeping over our country. I mean, you've got people who heard a car backfire and they run in panic. I'm rolling through the video for those that are listening. There's not really much you can hear other than someone filming saying, whoa, oh my God. But you can actually hear faint shrieking, absolute screams from people because a motorcycle backfired. Pop. And everyone runs screaming. You know what's really crazy about that? When I was on the ground in Ferguson, okay, there were actual gunshots. And there were journalists standing around looking at each other going, are those fireworks? And I hear that all the time. Are those fireworks? And I'm critical of it. And here we have Times Square, a car backfires, and everyone runs screaming, thinking it's a gun. I don't understand how things like this happen. Look, maybe you'll need someone to analyze human behavior. But how do you have actual shootings where people are like, are those fireworks? And then a car backfires in Times Square and everyone runs screaming. Regardless, our nation is becoming terrified. They think everything Trump is saying is secretly, they think Trump is behind the scenes writing screeds that are like only heard by white supremacists. They're the ones who can hear it. We have these shootings emerging. And my understanding is, look, violent crime is down, shootings are down for the most part. But you have people absolutely in panic. I think it's the media. But unfortunately, I'm not done with this story. Earlier today, a man with a weapon was reported in McLean outside of the USA Today headquarters. So what happened? Police swarmed in, SWAT swarmed in, people were evacuated. And then I started seeing these insane tweets from people who are panicking. And nothing happened. A man with a weapon. What weapon? We don't know if it was a gun, baseball bat, machete, hammer. No idea. Virginia is also an open carry state. You don't need a permit. You can walk around with a weapon. So my question was, okay, someone reported a weapon. What kind? What were they doing? Is there reason to be alarmed? I have no idea. There's no information. And yet, what do we see? I'm not trying to be mean, but this politics reporter for the Wall Street Journal says this is such a nightmare in reference to a story from MSNBC about the evacuation. But as it turns out, it is not a shooting. And then we saw this update. Police are suspending their search of the Gannett building after a report of a man with a weapon. Apparently, look, at the time of filming this video, it was just nothing. It was another bit of panic and hysteria. But all of this insanity, this really high tension, we are wound so tight we are ready to burst. It's bringing us to a dangerous place, okay? For whatever reason, people aren't listening anymore. The rhetoric is escalating. The panic is escalating. And I highlighted these incidents to show you just the short fuse everyone has, where the news breaks, we don't even know what it was, and people are calling it a nightmare. And they're saying, there's another tweet where they're like, I'm praying for my colleagues. I think it was from the same woman. You have this story from the New York Times where a car backfires and everyone panics. Take that mentality people have and add it to this MSNBC story where a guy is claiming that Trump was secretly signaling to white supremacists because of the time frame in which a flag would be at half-mast. And take this story from MSN, where you have MSNBC saying Trump is sending subliminal messages to white supremacist foot soldiers. And where do you think we go from there? Look, I feel like there's going to be a conflict because people are going insane. The hysteria is reaching a point where people have lost their minds. And then we have these following stories. I'm going to highlight some stories for you that say to me, we have gone beyond the point of hyperbole, beyond the point of fake news, and now we have willful escalation, calls to violence, stochastic terrorism, etc. Joaquin Castro posts names of employers of Trump donors. That's right. On Twitter, he posted a list of names of people who donated Trump, and everyone got really angry. Why would you do this? You're going to get these people harassed. You're going to get them targeted. In fact, apparently it turns out one of the guys whose name he published and workplace, they're all retirees, I guess, donated to him too. So it shows you that people in middle America, like regular people who are not in politics, donate. They donate to Trump. They donate to Joaquin. Because their politics middle of the road. And what does he do? He puts them in harm's way by publishing their name. And then he says on an interview, he's like, oh no, it wasn't, somebody else made it. I just shared it. Mm-hmm. But where do you think we go from here? Why share people's names? Honestly, don't know. GOP congressman shot by left-wing activist slams Joaquin Castro over Trump donor list. Lives are at stake. I know this firsthand. And this is Minority Whip Steve Scalise, who was attacked by a left-wing extremist, saying, you can't do this. And I agree. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Nobody's listening anymore. MSNBC is putting out insane conspiracies about the president, and they believe Trump is secretly twirling his mustache behind the scenes, writing scripts that only white supremacists can hear, and then publishing the names of the people who support him. Reza Aslan saying, in effect, my interpretation, that Trump supporters should be eradicated. How about this one? MSNBC's Nicole Wallace falsely claims Trump talking about exterminating Latinos. Ryan Saavedra reports, MSNBC's Nicole Wallace promoted dangerous rhetoric on Tuesday when she falsely claimed that President Donald Trump was talking about exterminating Latinos. Does he have the exact quote? Quote, when we have an infestation of MS-13 gangs in certain parts of the country, who do we send to get them out? ICE, Trump tweeted. They are tougher and smarter than these rough criminal elements that bad immigration laws allow into our country. Dems do not appreciate the great job they do. What do you do when, certainly, the last president sought, and it's not ideal, but had 44% of Latino voters, Wallace said. So politically powerful inside the last Republican administration. President Obama used the power of the presidency to try and pass comprehensive immigration reform with a Latino community, Latino leaders at the table. You now have a president, as you said, talking about exterminating Latinos, Wallace falsely claimed. That's where we're at. And as they say, the lie travels halfway around the world before the truth straps on its boots. And what do we get from then? We get Nicole Wallace tweeting, "I misspoke about Trump calling for extermination of Latinos. My mistake was unintentional and I'm sorry." Trump's constant assault on people of color and his use of the word invasion to describe the flow of immigrants is intentional and constant. What do you think comes next? They've said concentration camp. They've repeatedly called everything Trump's done as racist. I don't see it. Maybe I just can't interpret the weird dog whistles. I have no idea. They say that when Trump complains about crime, that's racist. When Trump calls out mass migration, it's racist. Well, it's not like we have flocks of white people from Europe lining up at our borders. So because Trump criticizes the concept of migration, they say it must be racist because it's only this group doing it. One thing that was pointed out by many people on the right was that when Trump complains about rats in Baltimore, if the first thing you think of is black people, maybe you're the racist. When you see dog whistles and everything Trump is saying, maybe you're the racist. And now let me provide for you some important context. These left-wing activists, the white ones, literally say they are racist. They're projecting. So listen, when you have white progressives on the far left who say all white people are racist and it's time everyone recognizes it, it's because they are racist and they're projecting how they view the world onto all white people, not realizing maybe it's just you. But then we can see the racism take different forms. White savior complexes. Yes, it happens to be that I've shown this graphic before. I have it pulled up. By every racial group, the only group that has an out-group preference, meaning they don't like themselves, is white liberals. They lean in against white people. That's just it. Every other race has a small in-group preference for their own race. Hey, that's a problem if you want to claim it is, but then they claim only white people can be racist and thus justifying other racial in-group preferences. It says to me that if you think a certain group is capable of a thing, or you think a certain group based on race is incapable of something, perhaps you are racist and you are basing your judgments, your laws, your policies, your passions on race. I think that makes you a racist. I certainly try to judge people based on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. But of course, that kind of argument is pointless. I know most moderates and people on the right agree, and I think that's what the split right now in this country is the left and the center and the right. But the reason I want to highlight this next point is it doesn't matter, okay? It literally doesn't matter. I can say, hey, you're being racist. They ignore me. You can see people of color, Candace Owens, etc., accuse people of being, on the left, racist, and they will say you're wrong. You're lying. They'll call Candace Owens a white supremacist. So where does this go from here? Conflict, chaos, hysteria, panic, etc. Take a look at this story. August 17, Portland protest risk spurs feds, state, local agencies to team up with police. We are going to have a major event on August 17th in Portland. I will not be there, but I believe it's going to be extremely dangerous. Many right-wing groups, many left-wing groups, and this is a potential to be a real powder keg. Look at the hysteria we saw. Where did I put that tweet? Okay, maybe there it is. Look at the hysteria we saw in Times Square with people running and screaming because a car backfired. Look at the insane rhetoric coming out of MSNBC, and now take these people and put them all in one place with weapons, body armor, Molotov cocktails, whatever they're going to bring. Antifa will show up with clubs and bike locks. Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer, whoever else will show up with their fists and fight back. But things are getting to a dangerous point in our society. And I don't know what to do, but I'll tell you this. The conspiracy theories are nuts. How do you stop it? I don't know. Fake news has gone insane. Politicians are publishing names. Reza Aslan, Sean King promoting overt acts of terror. I don't see conservatives promoting it. I see like poor statements. I see rhetoric that could push a conversation in a certain direction. But to compare Trump using the word invasion to Reza Aslan saying eradicate them, a bit different. To compare Trump saying we need to solve the migration problem, it's an invasion. Compare that to Sean King saying it's time, we need more, and then praising an individual, you're just wrong. Compare Trump's rhetoric about saying we have a problem with migrants or rats in Baltimore to someone on MSNBC claiming that simply because Trump is raising a flag, it's a symbol, it's a subliminal message. Someone else says, oh, subliminal messages. And they've gone nuts. The media rhetoric has gone beyond fake news. You know, first it was hyperbole. Trump is orange man bad. I kid you not. Look at the progression, right? Remember when the story was orange man bad? We're well beyond orange man bad at this point. First, it was just hyperbole. Trump is made a racist statement. Then they said Trump is racist. And they said Trump is the worst racist. Then they said Trump is worse than a racist. I kid you not. Someone actually, I believe it was Cory Booker. I'm not sure. Trump is worse than a racist. They've moved so far beyond just insulting the president. They're making up weird conspiracies now, right? So it's this guy right here on the left. It's actually, I believe it's the same guy from the other story. And MSNBC for years going about Russia and this other insanity that never happened. And here they are doing it again. I don't know what the solution is, but I'll tell you this. It's all falling apart. I'm going to leave it there. You get the point. We've got mass hysteria. It is affecting people more and more. People are panicking. They're saying the worst things about Trump. They're making things up. I don't think Trump's a great guy. I do think he's got character flaws. I do think he speaks poorly. But I got to tell you, when Trump calls out a rat problem that was highlighted by PBS, I don't think he's being racist. But now they say it was, and it's a matter of fact. Then people say, oh, but Trump is targeting people of color. I got to say this, and I could be wrong. When has Trump ever specifically called out a race in a negative way, like this race does this? A race, not a nationality, not a religion, a race. But you know what? I'll make the final point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what our policy positions are. It doesn't matter what we know. You can think you're right, but people have stopped listening. The left says calling out religions and nationalities is racist, period. Therefore, the president is calling out people of color. And when you say, I don't see it, they say it's because you're a racist too. I know all the Trump supporters get it, but where does it go from here? Well, the bifurcation of American society. And when words don't work anymore, when the laws won't be passed the left wants or the right wants, what do you think comes next? I'm making my predictions. I've made it for a while. So we're going to start seeing some kind of insurgency. I believe, based on the evidence I've seen so far, it's possible, at least in a very little bit, that what happened in Dayton was the result of an accelerationist who was trying to encourage conflict faster. But two shootings in the span of 24 hours, and it's starting to come into focus, isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'd like to be, but I don't think I am. When people are evacuating buildings out of fear, when fake news is running rampant and can't be corrected, I think we're going to go into a dangerous place. Violence. Stick around. Next segment will be youtube.com/TimCastNews at 6 p.m. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all then.